Faith, spirituality, and religion have been the driving force behind some of the most amazing architectural achievements in human history. This list looks at 10 of the most incredible churches that have ever been built and their spectacular architecture. Coming in first, at number 10, we have the Notre Dame Cathedral in Paris, a masterpiece of French Gothic architecture, and it's been a symbol of Christian worship and architectural innovation for over 850 years. Construction began way back in 1163, and it was largely completed by 1260, though modifications would continue for centuries. The cathedral's design incorporated groundbreaking features of Gothic architecture, including flying buttresses and large rose windows. These external supports allowed for taller, thinner walls and larger windows, filling the interior with natural light. The flying buttresses also distributed the weight of the massive roof, preventing the walls from bowing outward. Notre Dame's dimensions are impressive. The cathedral spans 420 feet in length, 157 feet in width, and reaches a height of 226 feet at its towers. The interior can accommodate up to 9,000 worshippers. The west facade, completed in the early 13th century, features two massive towers and is adorned with intricate carvings and statues of Old Testament kings. The choir and its ambulatories were completed first, followed by the nave and its aisles. The facade bases were laid around the year 1190, and the towers were constructed between 1210 and 1250. The building's plan takes the shape of a Latin cross. Throughout its history, Notre Dame has been the site of numerous significant events, including Napoleon Bonaparte's coronation in 1804 and the celebration of Paris's liberation in 1944. The cathedral has undergone several renovations, most notably in the 19th century, and then again recently following a devastating fire in 2019. This time around, it reopened December 2024. Next up at number 9, we have the Wells Cathedral, located in Somerset, England. It's also an amazing piece of Gothic architecture. Construction of this cathedral began around 1175, making it the first English cathedral to be built entirely in the Gothic style. The building process spanned over 300 years, with major work finally complete around the year 1490. The cathedral's west front stands about 100 feet tall and 147 feet wide, and is its most striking feature. It's adorned with over 300 medieval statues. One of the cathedral's most unique architectural elements is a set of scissor arches supporting the central tower. They were added between 1338 and 1348 by master mason William Joy to address structural issues caused by an unstable foundation. The arches not only solved the engineering problem, but also became a central aesthetic feature of the cathedral. The cathedral also has several other notable attributes, including the Jesse window, a piece of stained glass that's considered one of the finest in all of Europe, and the Wells clock, which was installed in 1390, believed to be the second oldest clock mechanism in Britain that's still in use. Despite its relatively modest size compared to other English cathedrals, its architectural beauty has earned it the reputation of being the most poetic of all English cathedrals. Next up, we have Riverside Church, a landmark in Morningside Heights, Manhattan. It's truly one-of-a-kind building. Construction, funded by John D. Rockefeller Jr., commenced in 1927 and concluded only 3 years later in 1930, with its inaugural service held October 5th of 1930. The Indiana limestone facade conceals a robust steel frame. Soaring to a height of 392 feet, Riverside Church holds the distinction of being the tallest church in the United States. Inside, the nave provides seating for approximately 2,000 people. The Rockefeller Memorial Carillon features 74 bells, including one that weighs 20 tons. An observation deck situated 355 feet above ground level gives panoramic views of the city below. Over the years, Riverside Church has been a landmark of activism, welcoming influential figures like Martin Luther King Jr., who delivered his powerful Beyond Vietnam speech from its pulpit. On to the next one, we have Ulm Minster, located in Ulm, Germany. It's the world's tallest church, boasting a steeple that reaches 530 feet into the sky. Construction of the Gothic masterpiece began in 1377 and took over 500 years to complete, finally finishing in 1890. The church's design evolved over time. Initially planned as a hall church with 3 naves of equal height, it was later modified to a basilica style with a higher central nave. The massive west tower, which gives the church its record-breaking height, posed significant structural challenges. In 1492, falling stones during a sermon revealed the tower's instability, leading to extensive reinforcements. It's not just tall, though, it's also vast. It spans 405 feet in length and 160 feet in width, with its central nave soaring 136 feet. Despite its size, the church is primarily built of brick, with stone masonry used for its towers and decorative elements. Today, visitors can climb 768 steps to reach a viewing platform at 469 feet. It offers panoramic views of the city of Ulm, and on clear days, the Alps off in the distance. Next up, the Strasbourg Cathedral. Construction began way back in 1015 on the foundations of a different church, but the cathedral that we see today took shape between 1190 and 1439. The building's distinctive reddish-brown hue comes from the sandstone quarried at nearby mountains. At 466 feet tall, the cathedral's north tower was the world's tallest building for 227 years, from 1647 to 1874. The height was achieved through innovative architectural techniques, including the use of ribbed vaults, which allowed for thinner walls and larger windows. The octagonal tower, completed in 1439 by Johannes Holtz, is a marvel of Gothic design, featuring intricate stonework and a spire composed of 8 stages of elaborate structure. The cathedral's interior is equally impressive. The nave, measuring 202 feet long and 107 feet high, is dominated by massive pillars, each bundling 16 smaller columns. Another unique element is a green ray of light that marks the equinoxes when the sunlight shines through specific stained glass windows. Throughout its history, the cathedral has endured significant challenges, including fire and damage during wars. Despite these setbacks, it has stood strong and continues to captivate visitors with its blend of Romanesque and Gothic architectural elements. One of the cathedral's most fascinating features is its astronomical clock, a complex mechanism created by a team of experts, artists, and mathematicians. Now we have St. Peter's Basilica, located in Vatican City. It's arguably the most iconic religious structure in the world. Construction on the current basilica began in 1506 and was completed in 1626, with construction spanning over 120 years. The project involved several renowned architects, including Michelangelo and Gian Lorenzo Bernini, resulting in a unique blend of Renaissance and Baroque architectural styles. The standout feature is the large dome designed by Michelangelo. Standing 448 feet tall, it's the tallest dome in the world. The dome's construction, which began in 1588, finished only 2 years later in 1590. It employed innovative techniques like a double shell structure. St. Peter's Basilica covers an area of over 3.7 acres, with the entire complex spanning almost 6 acres. The structure is built over the traditional burial site of St. Peter, the first pope of the Catholic Church. Beneath the basilica lie the papal tombs, where approximately 91 popes are buried. The construction process faced numerous challenges, including the need for a stable foundation to support the immense weight of the structure. Engineers devised methods to reinforce the grounds, ensuring the basilica's longevity. Additionally, the massive piers supporting the dome required multiple reinforcements and redesigns to bear the load. Today, the basilica can accommodate over 60,000 people and continues to be a major pilgrimage site, drawing millions of visitors each year to marvel at its grandeur and historical and religious significance. The Florence Cathedral, officially known as the Cathedral de Santa Maria del Fiore, is an iconic structure of Florence, Italy, and a masterpiece of Renaissance architecture. Construction of the cathedral began in 1296 following a Gothic design. The most remarkable feature of the cathedral, its dome, wasn't added until much later. Construction was a long and complex process spanning over 140 years. By 1418, the structure was complete up to the drum, but the challenge of finishing the dome remained. In that year, a competition was held to determine the design and the means of constructing the dome. The winner would go on to create one of the most innovative architectural features of the Renaissance. The dome, completed in 1436, is an engineering marvel, stands an impressive 376 feet tall, and has a diameter of 148 feet at its widest point. It consists of 2 layers, an inner layer of brick and an outer layer of stone, held together by stone ribs. This ingenious design allowed the architect to construct the dome without using traditional centering, a feat that was unprecedented at the time. The cathedral itself is enormous, measuring 502 feet in length and 125 feet in width. Its facade, however, was not completed until much later. The current neo-Gothic facade was designed and constructed between 1871 and 1887. The Rouen Cathedral, officially known as the Cathedral of Notre de Rouen, has stood for over 800 years. Construction began back in 1145, with the building process spanning several centuries, resulting in a unique blend of early Gothic, High Gothic, and flamboyant architectural styles. The cathedral's most noticeable feature is its cast iron spire, added in the 19th century, which is an impressive 495 feet high. This addition briefly made the cathedral the tallest building in the world from 1876 to 1880. The western facade showcases intricate stonework and was completed between 1370 and 1450. Inside, the nave stretches 197 feet in length and is covered by four-part rib vaults. The original design included 4 levels, but after a fire in 1200, head architect revised the plans to incorporate the innovative flying buttress technology, allowing for larger windows and more light. One of the cathedral's most intriguing features is the butter tower. Not named for its color, but for its funding source. Wealthy patrons paid indulgences to eat dairy products during Lent, financing the tower's construction, which began in 1485. The Rouen Cathedral has weathered numerous challenges, including significant damage during World War II. In 1944, Allied bombings destroyed the nave and weakened the structure. Restoration efforts were quickly undertaken following the war to preserve the historically and architecturally significant building. Westminster Abbey, officially known as the Collegiate Church of St. Peter at Westminster, is a historic Anglican church in London, England. Its construction began in 1245 under the orders of King Henry III, replacing an earlier church built by Edward the Confessor in the 11th century. The abbey is primarily built in the Gothic architectural style, characterized by pointed arches, ribbed vaults, and detailed stone carvings. The church's nave is almost exactly 100 feet high, making it the highest Gothic vault in England. The impressive height is accentuated by narrow aisles, creating an illusion of even greater height. The 3 master masons, Henry of Reims, John of Gloucester, and Robert of Beverley, supervised the initial construction. They were heavily influenced by the French, but the abbey also displays distinctly English elements, including the use of contrasting materials like Purbeck marble and white stone. The construction of the abbey took several centuries. While the eastern ends, transepts, and first bay of the nave were completed relatively quickly, the western section wasn't completed until the 14th century. Westminster Abbey has played a crucial role in English and British history, serving as the coronation site for at least 40 monarchs since 1066 and the burial place for 18 royals. It's also hosted at least 16 royal weddings since 1100, cementing its status as a centerpiece of British royal and national identity. Next up, we have the Milan Cathedral, which took nearly 6 centuries to complete. Construction began way back in 1386 under Archbishop Antonio de Saluzzo. The cathedral's design evolved over time, blending various architectural styles due to its prolonged construction period. Initially planned in terracotta, the design was changed to use the pink-hued white marble, which required the creation of an entire canal system to transport. Its nave reaches an impressive height of 148 feet, making it one of the tallest Gothic vaults in a completed church. The roof is adorned with a forest of openwork pinnacles and spires set against delicate flying buttresses, creating a striking silhouette against the Milan skyline. One of the cathedral's most famous features is its facade, which combines classical and Gothic elements. The lower portion displays classical features, while the upper portion showcases Gothic elements like pointed arches, tracery, and pinnacles. The cathedral's construction involved thousands of workers and at least 78 different architects over the centuries. Major milestones include its consecration in 1418, although only the nave was finished at that time, and the completion of the facade in 1805 under Napoleon Bonaparte's orders. The final elements were not completed until 1965, finally marking the end of the 579-year construction process. The Sagrada Familia, a monumental basilica in Barcelona, Spain, has a rich history going back over 140 years. Construction commenced in 1882 under architect Francisco de Paula del Villar, but Antoni Gaudí assumed the project in 1883, revolutionizing it with his distinctive fusion of Gothic and Art Nouveau styles. Gaudí devoted the last 40 years of his life to the endeavor, yet upon his death in 1926, less than a quarter of the basilica was finished. Progress was slow and fraught with challenges, including the Spanish Civil War in 1936, which led to the destruction of numerous original plans and models. The basilica is designed to feature 18 towers, each holding a significant meaning, with 12 representing the apostles, 4 the evangelists, 1 dedicated to Mary, and the central tower representing Jesus Christ. Upon completion, the central tower will stand at a height of 566 feet, making it the tallest church globally. Recent years have seen accelerated construction utilizing modern technology and engineering. The Sagrada Familia Foundation aims to complete the project by 2026, coinciding with the 100th anniversary of Gaudi's death. The Sagrada Familia was designated a basilica by Pope Benedict, and Gaudi himself is buried in the church's crypt. Throughout history, the building has faced opposition, including attempts by anarchists to destroy it during the Spanish Civil War. The current design is based on reconstructed plans, as many originals were lost. The basilica will feature a viewpoint at the top of the Jesus Christ Tower, accommodating up to 11 people and offering spectacular views of Barcelona. Despite its lengthy construction, the Sagrada Familia remains one of Barcelona's most iconic and visited landmarks, drawing millions of visitors annually. The stunning Gothic piece of architecture, the Cologne Cathedral, has a history spanning over 6 centuries. Construction started back in 1248 under Archbishop Conrad von Hochstaden, but the ambitious project faced numerous delays and interruptions. The eastern arm of the church was completed and consecrated in 1322, but work on the rest of the structure proceeded intermittently until 1473. Then construction halted entirely. For nearly 400 years, an unfinished cathedral stood as a symbol of Cologne, with a massive crane atop its south tower becoming a landmark of the city's skyline. It wasn't until 1842 that construction resumed, spurred by a 19th century romantic enthusiasm for medieval architecture. The project was finally completed in 1880, a staggering 632 years after it began. The cathedral's twin spires are 515 feet tall, making it the tallest twin-spired church in the world, the second tallest church in all of Europe. Its facade is the largest of any church worldwide, showcasing the grandeur of Gothic design. The cathedral has demonstrated remarkable resilience throughout history. During World War II, it endured 14 aerial bombings and over 70 firebomb strikes, yet it remained standing while much of the city around it was destroyed. The cathedral houses significant religious artifacts, including the Shrine of the Three Kings, believed to contain the bones of the biblical Magi. This relic has drawn pilgrims to Cologne for centuries and was the primary reason for the cathedral's construction. Today, it's a UNESCO World Heritage Site and attracts approximately 6 million visitors per year. And finally, we have one of the most spectacular pieces of architecture, religious or otherwise. Mont Saint-Michel is a beautiful island commune in Normandy, France. The landmark stands approximately 1,000 feet in circumference and rises 256 feet above sea level. Its history dates back to the 6th and 7th century AD, when it was first inhabited by the Celtic people, and later conquered by the Romans. The island's transformation began in earnest in 708 AD, when, according to legend, the Archangel Michael appeared to Bishop Aubert, instructing him to build on the rocky island. In 966 AD, a community of Benedictine monks settled on the rock and began constructing an abbey. The Romanesque Abbey Church was founded in 1023 AD, marking the beginning of the Abbey's millennium-long history. The architectural marvel known as the Wonder was completed in 1256 AD. This 3-story structure showcases the transition from Romanesque to Gothic architecture. The Abbey's design incorporates various architectural styles due to its long construction period and multiple renovations throughout history. The island's strategic location made it an impenetrable fortress during the 100 Years' War between England and France. It successfully resisted sieges and remained unconquered, with a small garrison fending off a full-on English attack in 1433. Today, it attracts over 3 million visitors annually, making it the most visited site in France outside of Paris. Despite its popularity, the island maintains a permanent population of only about 30 people, resulting in the world's highest tourist-to-inhabitant ratio of approximately 100,000 tourists per resident. Recent preservation efforts have focused on maintaining Mont Saint-Michel's island character. A project completed in 2015 involved constructing a hydraulic dam and replacing the old causeway with a light bridge, allowing water to flow freely around the island. This initiative helped prevent silting of the bay and preserves the site's unique aesthetic and historical significance.